Sheesh. I mean, sheesh. I said he's talking about sheesh. I think it's time to do another one. For some reason, I think it's time to do another one. Let's just do another one. I'm not looking for full motivation, all right? I'm just looking for a little sliver of motivation before I go to bed to try to throw out one more episode for you, okay? I'm just going to throw one out there. Why not? What's driving this? I don't know. What's driving anyone to do anything? I don't know. I wonder if it decreases, though. Wouldn't you think, like, whatever you're into right now, like the things that take a little extra energy, the things that you have to push a little harder to do, you know, those things, like the extra stuff, on top of survival stuff. Like, survival stuff is whatever you're doing to make money, to feed yourself, to pay the bills, all that shit you got to do. But what about the extra stuff? Like, maybe I'll record a podcast, or maybe I'll go to the gym, or maybe I'll take a painting class, a watercolor painting class, or maybe I'll go to yoga, or maybe I'll learn a new language, or maybe I'll read books to blind people, or maybe I'll walk a dog at the Humane Society. You know, something extra. Does that decrease the energy to do all of that shit later in life? Like when you're hitting your 80s, is it just, you know, something? I'm going to wake up, have that coffee, and then sit on a couch and look outside a window, and that's enough. You would think, right? You would think, except Willie Nelson's 91 years old, and Willie Nelson's still working. Willie Nelson's still on tour, and Willie Nelson, I'm not making this up, is putting out a new album later this month. This is now May 2024. I just read this in the pink section known as Date Book in the Chronicle. Willie Nelson is putting out his, take a guess, how many solo albums has he put out? Willie Nelson's 91. This is going to be his 75th album. And you know what's crazy? It's going to be good. It's still going to be good. What is driving him? He's an anomaly. He's an outlier. Like, he's probably not even real. Willie Nelson's just claymation. None of us notice because he's covered in old white hair and old wrinkles, and he's always kind of murky in a cloud of his own smoke. So we've all thought Willie's real. Willie's not real. You don't do 75 solo albums, plus 20 more duets albums, and just stay on tour? This dude's nuts. He's nuts. So whereas I think, you know, at some point I got to just stop with the extra stuff. The energy is going to be fully depleted. Even how I go to the gym now, I don't go to the gym because it's fun. I go to the gym like it's prescribed. Like, I have to continue on this path of health, because you take your foot off the pedal just a little bit. As you get into your 40s, if you take your foot off the pedal just a little bit, it all goes to shit. It all goes to shit. That's why so many people are doing challenges and 30 days without alcohol challenges. And can you do some Wim Hof breathing for 3 months? Challenges. And can you do an ice plunge? Challenges. Can you not eat cheese for a week? Challenges. All this stuff, it's not fun. We just have to make games out of it. But Willie's still having fun, I think. Yeah, Willie's still having fun.
Shotgun Willie sits around in his underwear, biting on a bullet, pulling out all of his hair. A shotgun Willie's got all of his family there. Well, you can't make a record if you ain't got nothing to say. You can't make a record if you ain't got nothing to say.
Tell him.
Play music if you don't know nothing to play.
Oh, Shotgun Willie. It's so fucking good, isn't it? It's so good. Who's 91 and still doing anything good? Like at a high enough level where people of all ages will still buy an expensive ticket to see you live in concert? I will. I will buy an expensive ticket to see Willie live in concert. And his albums are still good and the lyrics are fun. And he even says, you can't make a record if you ain't got nothing to say. Willie, I think you can. I don't know if the lyrics are profound anymore. I don't know if there's a true message. You can't make a record if you ain't got nothing to say. You can't play music if you don't know nothing to play. You can't do a podcast if you have nothing to say. Yeah, I can. I have nothing to say. Yet it's going to eventually become something. I think. I hope. I pray. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. It's episode 236. And we're doing it again. And it's a big week. It's a big week for the AP kids. What's that mean? AP kids, advanced placement. This year I'm teaching advanced placement, U.S. history, and then college prep, U.S. history. But the AP kids, they take a big test. Their whole school year culminates in this one big test. And if they pass the test, then they get some college credit. Then they get that grade bump. So they're studying. And this week we're doing all sorts of prep and study games and rack your memory. Do you remember anything from August, September, October? Do you remember any of those readings, any of those discussions? Well, truly, the answer has to be no. Who remembers any discussion or even reading from August? I don't. I've read some books in August, September. I don't remember any of them. Maybe I remember that I liked them or I didn't like them. But in terms of the content, so you got to spend this last part of the school year just racking your brain, going full throttle, study, pressure-filled, stressful preparation for this AP exam, which is coming up tomorrow. So I admit to the kids, I ain't trying to fake the funk. Okay, I admit. This is my first year teaching AP US history. I'm a rookie. And then one of my brightest kids, I'm talking about a real sharp one, a real Ivy League brain. He asked me, Mr. Rosenberg, how much will we have to know about the House of Burgesses? And in my brain, I said, what the fuck is the House of Burgesses? And I told him, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. And in that moment, I was like, oh no, House of Burgesses. If I'm not recalling some of the stuff that I probably taught in August, September, then it gives you some compassion for what these kids are doing. And these kids put so much pressure on themselves. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe parents, maybe it's intrinsic, right in their own line of decision making. Like, did they choose to take these classes? Or they just have tunnel vision about college? Get into my dream school, got to take the AP classes. I don't know. There's an assortment of kids in there. But when he goes, how much should we know about the House of Burgesses? I truly wanted to say out loud, what the fuck is the House of Burgesses? And then we all, discuss it. And I Google it. I do a quick Google search. Of course, it's Virginia's first organized government when they're becoming a colony. There you go, Jake. But really, that class moves at a pace that's unnatural. I mean, it's a good class, but to shove that much. You go from 1492 into the 1990s, from August until May, and then we go, and now we're just going to throw it all onto a test. We analyze documents, you write a long essay, there's 55 multiple choice, you got short answer questions, and then we just, say, good luck, it's up to you, because it's one of those classes where they have to be self-sufficient. You got to rely on 16, 17-year-olds to organize and structure their own time with all the added surrounded stimulation that exists for teens nowadays. Coming out of that phone, I have a good feeling that it's probably harder than ever to study. Or maybe it's easier. They just go to YouTube and type in, what did I miss when I was sleeping in Rosenberg's class? I don't know. There's a lot of YouTubers out there just trying to condense the information. There's probably a lot of things that would constitute as tutoring out there where you don't have to pay for it. So all that's good. But if you get a text or you want to scroll through some TikTok action or you're clicking like on a tweet. I don't think they're on Twitter, actually. I think it's too much. It's too much. And I realized I can't have more than 2 streams of anything happening at once. Like today, I came home. As I'm making dinner, I wanted to read an email that my wife had sent, and the 2 girls were listening to 2 different videos on 2 different devices. And I actually had to leave the room. It was just too much for my brain. But I think this generation, they're cultivating a different kind of brain. It's a different kind of brain. There even was a study that brains are bigger and brains are more complex than they used to be. Are humans just smarter now? Are humans actually able to take in more information, more streams of stimulation into their brains? Perhaps it's true. I mean, the old guard doesn't want to admit it, that maybe the young kids can multitask a little bit. They can categorize certain things like that's entertainment, that's socializing, and this is academics, whereas I can't. It all just goes into one big pot of stew, and I get scared, and I freak out, and then I cry, and then I sweat, and then I have to run into the street in my boxers. And people go, why is he in the street? He'll be on Nextdoor soon. I go, I'll probably be on Nextdoor for some other reasons later in life. But Nextdoor is an app that I don't have on my phone. Why don't I have it on my phone? Because it's too much. It's too much to read the comments. And all the posts start nice. We're selling Girl Scout cookies. You read 10 comments, and now all of a sudden some people want to see Trump locked up for life. And I'm like, wait, we were talking about Thin Mints. And I take my wife's phone, because she has the app. She has the Nextdoor app. And I take my wife's phone when I'm feeling brave, when I'm feeling daring, when I feel like my nervous system is calm enough where I could handle Nextdoor. And I always type in the same thing, coyote. Coyote in the streets? Me in the streets running? No. Coyote in the streets. There's always a post around these streets of Terra Linda, Marinwood, Sanderfeld. There's always a post, and it's always the same thing. And it always gets me all wound up. But it's exciting. I actually like to see where the thread goes on a coyote. And this one, I'll just lay it out there. It almost sounds like I'm making this up, but you could even look online as well. Blackstone. I'm giving you the exact street. So someone found a coyote in a front yard on Blackstone. It's always a couple grainy pictures, and they take pictures of the coyote and they put it up there. And it's always the same shit. Someone goes, can anyone help? No one gives a shit to help all these homeless people. At least on Nextdoor, you don't see a lot of, here's a picture of a homeless guy in a tent behind Best Buy. Can anybody help? But if there's a coyote who looks too skinny, can anyone help? 73 comments. And the first 5 to 7 comments are, oh, so sad. I wish someone could help that coyote. And then one callous comment of like, I'm pretty sure that we should just let nature take its course. Let the old fella die wherever he dies. Like, who are we to judge how the coyote's nutrition level is that day? And my wife made the comment, like, who is an expert? Who thinks that they're looking at a healthy, 4-year-old coyote? That could be an 80-year-old coyote who's just very old and sick looking, like we're all going to look when we're in our 80s. We're all going to look so old and sick. And it's just how we're going to look. And are people always going to go, oh, can someone help him? Like humans, when we eventually become all emaciated and, the last days of our lives, we caught the coyote. We took a human photo. We put it on a human app. The coyote doesn't know all this shit's happening. The coyote might be like, you know what? Today's my last day. I've had a good life. I'm just going to prance onto Blackstone. I'm going to run around Miller Creek Middle School and then say goodbye. I'm going to, fall in the creek. And that'll be it. Doesn't know all the comments are like, we need to save this coyote. We need to do our part. We need to call an animal. What are they? Animal. Oh God, I'm tired. I have no clue what they're called. Who are the people that would come save a coyote? It's not pest control. I have a pest control story I'm about to tell though. What is it? You're from the Humane Society. We would call you to get a rattlesnake if I found it in the yard. Animal control. I'll just say that. Is that an agency? Animal control? I don't know. I'd probably just call 911 if there was a rattlesnake in my backyard. And would they patch me through to animal control? Deuce Bigelow? Who would come over? I don't even know. Who are you even going to call to help a coyote? The answer is no one. And I hate to say this, but you probably let the coyote die. Die in peace. Not die with all the neighbors surrounding it, feeling sorry for that guy. That coyote might have had a great life. But on Nextdoor, we're all experts. We're all wildlife experts. I said I had a good animal pest control story. I heard a knock. Last night was bath night in the Rosenberg house, and that's hectic. That's hectic. There's a lot of screams. And we have to separate the girls. Okay, hey, stay on your side of the bath. You stay on your side of the bath. And we always threaten separate baths, but we're too lazy to do separate baths. So we got toys, we got dolls, we got games, we got all sorts of fun stuff in the bath. Yet every minute or two, it's just screams, shrill screams and crying. Someone poked someone bit someone, and I'm just dealing with that. And I hear a big old loud knock on the front door and go, shit. And we don't have any sign that says no soliciting. And I look, it's a stranger with a clipboard. I just answer. I don't know why. I just open the door. I didn't even say, who is it? I just open the door and I stare at this guy. And this guy goes, hey, sir, just wondering, who's your pest control guy? Who's your company that you use? And I was like, I don't have time for this right now. I'm very sorry. And he goes, well, I'm in the neighborhood. And he was a con man, because all of a sudden he goes, I'm already doing the twins down the street. I'm working with Sandy as well. And I wanted to let you know that right now for half off, I could just get right to it. Get all the vermin, raccoons, rabbits, and mice and rats out of your way. And I'm like, I don't know if we have any of those things. And what's half off of what? What would I even know a starting price to be? And you're going to give me half off of that. And who are the twins and who's Sandy? He's saying these names like these are neighbors we should all know. Yeah, I'm already helping out with the twins and Sandy down the street. So I might as well just knock on your door and scare the shit out of you while you're listening to the screams of your girls in the bath. And at that point, my wife was screaming, he'll be right there, talking about me. Like, daddy's going to be right there to help. Someone probably needed a washcloth or a Band-Aid. I don't know, but I just said to the guy, okay, I'm so sorry. And he wasn't, the type to go, okay, thanks, have a nice night. He kept the pitch going. Even as I was closing the door, which I thought was nice, I said, I'm so sorry, I don't have time tonight. I didn't say come back some other time. Like I'm going to need pest control from this guy who wasn't even a company. I don't even know what he was. How would he control the pests? He didn't get to that part. But he even said at one point, why pay the big bucks to the guys in the big trucks? He had a whole pitch. Why pay the big bucks to the guys in the big trucks when really I'm already in the neighborhood? I'm already here on your brick steps. Why don't you let me kill some rats? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he got me thinking, do we need him? And the answer is no, we don't need him. But that was an interesting pitch. And then I thought, do I go to Amazon and just buy a sign that says no soliciting? No, don't do that. It's a free country. You're allowed to come to my door and tell me a bunch of bullshit about the things I need. It's fine. It just adds to stress. And we got to learn how to persevere through stress. We got to get through that. We got to get through those door knockings that scare the shit out of us because people didn't used to get so scared when people knocked on your door. Now it's like everyone duck and be quiet. Honestly, there are families where I bet if there's a knock on the door, everyone's like, shh. Just get low, get on the ground. It could be anyone, but it's so alarming for a stranger to knock. We don't have Ring. We don't have the footage. We just have theater of the mind. Who is behind our door right now? Shh. Everyone get low. Get low. Get on the flow. Next thing you know, shorty got low from the windows to the walls until the sweat drips all. Is he going there? Nah, I don't think I'm going to go. Don't work blue, pal. You don't have to work blue. Who are the guys in the trucks with the big bucks? Is a good rhyme. Where was I? I feel like I was at the House of Burgesses. I was going somewhere. My eyes are closing right now. I shouldn't have done this. I did lavender oil with jojoba oil. I mixed the oils and I slapped it all over my face. And I even put it in my hair. I read that you could put ho-ho-buh, or is it jojoba? It's not jojoba oil. It's got to be ho-ho-buh. At Trader Joe's, I buy the ho-ho-buh oil, which is great. It's really great. It doesn't clog your pores. It just moisturizes. And I read the bottle finally. After 3 years of using this, it says you could also put it in your hair. So I started putting it in my hair. I look like a greaser. I really do, but in a good way. You know, Pony Boy, Soda Pop, The Outsiders. Wasn't that book written by a teen? I think that's how it was pitched to us in middle school. And here's a book written by someone not too much older than you. And it was still boring to me in 6th grade to read The Outsiders, but I do remember they were greasers. And now I'm a greaser because I'm putting jojoba ho-ho-buh oil in my hair. And I am tired because lavender oil makes you so calm. You kind of, want to huff it before bed. But now I'm doing an episode. I'm stuck in an episode right now. I'm not just going to delete this episode, but I can't remember anything I've talked about because the eyes are actually shutting right now. I just know House of Burgesses. And that would have me talking about the AP kids taking their big test. But what about the CP kids? Some people go, if it's not the AP class, what do you call it? Well, we call it CP college prep. But everything's college prep, right? I don't know. There's some kids that aren't envisioning college in their future and they're still in my classes. And where do I go with that? Anywhere I want. I mean, there's California content standards that you follow. But really, at this time of the school year, I've already gotten to everything. Now I'm like into Clinton. I'm into Bill Clinton. I'm teaching these kids. How old am I? I'm teaching them things that I remember. I was like, he played the saxophone on Arsenio. They're like, who the fuck's Arsenio? And I'm like, yeah, Bill Clinton. He admitted to smoking pot, but he said he didn't inhale. Didn't inhale? And as I'm saying this out loud, my memories of Clinton, of course, I'll get to Lewinsky and Jennifer Flowers. I mean, of course, this womanizer, we'll talk about the affairs and the scandals, which did nothing to really hurt his reputation. As we've seen with scandalous politicians, fame is fame. Any publicity is good publicity. It keeps you in the headlines. Hey, more people come out to the polls. More people are going to give you that vote. It's a shady war room. Let's get the dirt. Let's go beneath the belt. Let's hit him with some personal shit. So Clinton, they're like, he smokes weed. He dodged the draft. He cheats on his wife. And he's like, yeah, you got me. What are you going to do? He was a smooth motherfucker, wasn't he? He would go on talk shows and just say, that is my fault. That is my bad. And people were like, oh, I like that. Get out in front of it. Don't dodge the crisis. So he kind of, got out in front. But with weed, he's like, didn't inhale. Could that be true with anyone? With anyone? If you didn't inhale, you don't have to say you've ever smoked weed. There it is. I hereby declare, if you've ever puffed on some weed and didn't inhale it with the intent of getting high, you don't have to say you've ever smoked weed. You don't have to say you've ever even done that drug because that's not how you do the drug. That's the equivalent to if someone said to me, have you ever drank alcohol? And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I've poured it in a glass and then I poured it on my lap. But I regret that. They're like, I don't think that's how you do alcohol, bruh. But Bill said that, and now I'm telling 17-year-olds in 2024, and they're like, what? Who? What? I had a friend who actually said that would hurt you nowadays. Like, that would hurt you to say you've never smoked weed. I think people like the common man or woman. I think people like the common human when it comes to how they're going to vote. They don't want that robotic, I've never broken a law, I've never broken a rule, I've never smoked weed. I think some people like a rugged criminal convict. I think someone likes a candidate with a big old stain on their resume, maybe a few stains on your resume. That'll help you get elected. Squeaky clean doesn't work. Who wants squeaky clean? Who gets the clicks? We're in the clickbait generation, right? Who gets the clicks? What's her name? Marjorie Green, MG. You know who I'm talking about. Fuck, she's in the headlines every day. A lot of people can't name more than 4 politicians, but who are the 4 you can name? Boebert, Marjorie Green Taylor, or Taylor Green, one of them. You could probably name anyone that's done something really shady in the last few years. But if you're just a congressman or a congresswoman going to work and doing your job, chances are most of America has not heard of you. Clinton, some no-name governor out of Arkansas, rises to the top with his adultery, weed, and draft dodging. The game was changing, folks. The game. What the hell am I talking about right now? You didn't know you'd get a Clinton lesson tonight. Very timely stuff. I wrote to Mick LaSalle. He's the movie critic, the film critic for the San Francisco Chronicle. That's how you know you're elderly in your 40s, when you start to write letters to the newspaper and hope to get printed. And I write to Mick. It's an Ask Mick Sunday section. It's the best. His answers are so good. Mick LaSalle's been the film critic for the Chronicle for, I don't know, for probably 40 years, maybe 50. Hey, let's exaggerate. There's no fact checking. He's been the film critic for 60 years. Like Willie Nelson. He's the Willie Nelson of film critics. Can't stop, won't stop. And I asked him, plenty of questions that haven't gotten printed. And then I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going with my La Bamba question. Why did they use Los Lobos? I said, Dear Mick, big fan. But I can't get over the fact that the makers of the Richie Valens biopic La Bamba used Los Lobos music instead of Richie's. Why not use Richie's music? You know? And I don't know if Mick's going to print that one, but I still don't know. It's like most movies. If you walk the line with Joaquin Phoenix doing Johnny Cash, you use Johnny Cash's music, right? Didn't they? It wasn't Joaquin. Or if you're like, I don't know, Ray with Jamie Foxx, you're using Ray Charles' music, right? If you're Val Kilmer doing Jim Morrison, you're using The Doors' music, right? I don't even know anymore. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's common to use a little Los Lobos on the La Bamba soundtrack. And it's tough for me because who's better, Los Lobos or Richie? Probably Los Lobos, but I don't want to know that. So I put on Richie Valens the other day on Spotify, and he was 17 years old. And I put on this one song, and after the track, he did like a live commercial, like it was very radio sounding. Hey, this is Richie Valens, reminding you that right now you could get in a Pontiac. And I was like, oh my God, this guy, 17. Oh, you knew I'd get to Richie Valens and La Bamba at some point, right? Right? I mean, this is Here We Go with your boy Josh Rosenberg. We're going to be talking about timely things like Bill Clinton and the hit movie from 87, La Bamba, the first and only time I've ever cried at a movie. Actually, I think I've cried at a few others. I cried a little bit at Lion. Have you seen Lion with Nicole Kidman and Dev Patel? I remember putting my shirt over my head and just crying into that. That's a hell of an ending. And for some reason, Nomadland got me choked up a little bit. When was the last time I cried at a movie? For some reason, I don't have that part of me. I don't know. I'm broken inside, folks. Let's fix that. Where are we going? Oh, yeah, I'm reading. Just look around my room to get content. Should I talk about that old painting from Grandpa Si? I don't know. Should I talk about that mini split we bought from a company that didn't warn us about the ticking sound? Should I talk about that mid-century modern sunburst from Ross that looks like it's $5,000, but it's really $5? No, I'm looking at my Kindle, and I can tell you I'm reading a book by Moshe Kasher. It's his second book called Subculture Vulture. And if you take any recommendation from me, let it be this, motherfuckers. There's no reason to call the listeners of this podcast motherfuckers. But if you take any recommendation, my eyes are now closed, folks. It's just autopilot at this point. Let's go. Subculture Vulture by Moshe Kasher. It's his memoir in 6 parts. The part I just finished was his part as a raver. It starts in AA, he gets to raving, then being a part of the deaf community, being a part of the Jewish community, being part of the stand-up comedy community. He's a fascinating guy. He's also pretty brilliant. He's been sober since he was 15. That's a young age to get sober. But his chapter on raving, He made it sound like raves are done, like extinct, like everyone just goes to these music festivals like Coachella now. I didn't realize that. So I guess people at Coachella are just dropping all sorts of drugs and tripping out. Who knew, said the old guy who watches them. Why do they have bandanas? I actually don't know. Why is everybody in the Coachella pictures got bandanas, looking like Punky Brewster out there? But he did mention one thing. He's a Bay Area guy. He's from Oakland. He said he started to rise pretty quickly as a DJ. I'm saying this with a question mark because my eyes really are closed right now. I need to wake up a little. He was a DJ in the rave scene, and in one paragraph, he started naming the raves that he DJ'd, and the only time in my life I've ever been to a rave, because my group of friends liked this. When we were seniors in high school, I wasn't into it, but the journalist in me, I like to sample everything. I'm actually open-minded once. I will be open-minded to anything once, usually. I mean, there's probably some caveats to that. But when it came to raves, I noticed a lot of my friends enjoyed taking a little E, staying up too late, and I was like, I'm not going to do E. I wasn't ready. 17, 16-year-old, I was young for my grade. Wasn't ready for that, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I forget who I got a ride, maybe with Rick or Mitch or Colbs or Brandon. I don't know. But we all went, and that meant everyone had little toys like pacifiers or little blow pops, and everyone had a backpack full of supplies. Everyone just became like a little camper. And I was like, I don't get it. I think I brought, 14 Coors Lights. I was like, I'll do my own thing in the corner of the rave. And it was called Acid Breaks. I do remember that because I had the ticket. I saved the ticket. And I brought a little disposable camera. And I took pictures all night. And it was so fun. I mean, the DJs were great. It was a light show. There were breakdancers. That's why I went, because I liked breakdancing. Acid Breaks. It was like a bunch of people popping and locking. It felt like 300,000 people. I don't know how many people were there, but Moshe said that he was DJing. So I went to a rave that Moshe Kasher was actually DJing. Who knew? That's the power of reading, folks. It's a hell of a memoir. I love it. I highly recommend. And that's my rave story. What else do I remember? I don't know. A lot of people getting down, getting busy. Sexual without sex. A lot of petting. Heavy petting, folks. It's heavy. I remember getting into one of the circles. I wasn't a good break dancer, but I was ready to break some bones. And hey, it was past 2 a.m., so no one's going to care. I got in there. Yeah, there was a point where breakdancing made a comeback, and I'd like another comeback. Even though at this age it would definitely send me to the ER, I think I've reached the point where I want the third wave, the third renaissance for breakdancing. Because whatever dance moves I see NBA players do as they celebrate, or whatever the high schoolers are doing, it sucks. It all sucks. All the current dancing sucks. But you don't want to go back too far when it comes to like the mashed potatoes and the twist. All that stuff sucks. The only good dancing is from my era. The only good sports is from my era. The only good rap, the only good movies, the only good TV shows, the only good food, the only good commercials, it's my era. That's what we do. We just label whatever our prime was, whatever our glory period of life was, where we look back fondly on all the vintage, nostalgic shit that we thought was the best. Then we just pause that, and then we tell everyone younger than us stories about how it used to be. And that's what our parents will do to us, our grandparents do to us. That's what I'll do to my kids, and that's what I'll do to my grandkids. And that's where we're going to end this episode, because I don't think I made that much sense. And I do hear crying in the hallway. Is it the 2-year-old who I still call the baby? But she's almost 3. I can't call her a baby. She's just my baby because she's still chubby and ooey gooey like a marshmallow. It's tough not to bite her. Or is it the 6-year-old having a nightmare? I don't know, but there's some shrill crying and screaming in this house. Hey, it's all love, folks, but still, I should probably tend to that. And I should study the House of Burgesses, because that seems to be important to one of my students. Did we get to everything? What am I going to do now? I'll finish the Tom Brady roast, which is very weird. It's making me uncomfortable for some reason. I mean, some of the roasters are good, but Kevin Hart's not. Am I in the minority? Kevin Hart is the most brutally unfunny comedian I think I've ever seen. He laughs so fucking hard at his own material. Does he do that to try to make us laugh? Like, if I laughed after everything I said that I was hoping would be funny, would it cause you to laugh? Would it cause you to go, well, Josh is sending the message that it's funny, so we should laugh? Why? Why is Kevin Hart laughing after all of his very mediocre material? He goes too far. And I know it's weird to say it a roast, but you could go too far. If it's not out of a place of love, it's just scathing insults. It's not funny. It's not fun. Oh, God. I'll catch myself. When I was younger, the roasts were better. There's another moment. All right, let's just wrap it up. Leave a nice rating on wherever you listen. Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Odyssey, SoundCloud, wherever it is. I appreciate you. I do love you. It's just time to fall into the mic and say peace out. This episode's in the books. I'll talk to you soon.